Hi guys, this is Cynthia from the elementaryhelper.com and I'm here to give you a little preview of our new packet, which is our higher order thinking packet. Within the packet, we have a lot of different products, so I'm just going to give you a quick overview of everything inside the packet. The first part of the packet, which is my absolute favorite, is our higher order thinking, or HOT, questions for literacy. This is my favorite part because really it does lend itself to literacy. It lends itself to conversations that I'm sure as a primary or ECE teacher you have on a daily basis. But it's really structured, and it's really helped me because normally I'm like, I want to ask these great questions, but I don't necessarily have the time to sit through every book before I read it, think of all these great questions, and then read the book and then have those conversations, right? Sometimes that time does not lend itself to that. So the great thing about this packet is that I wrote it in levels. Higher order thinking is levels, right? Level 1 is knowledge. It's remembering information. Knowledge-based learning, students will be able to answer questions that require only memory of data or facts. Students will identify, name, count, repeat, etc. So what I did is I labeled each section. We have level 1 questions. I told you what level of knowledge that is. What level of questioning that is, knowledge. I give you a little reminder. With every question, have students elaborate their answers by asking them, tell me more. How would you do that? How do you know that happened? What would happen if, etc. So it really lends itself to multi-exchange communication, which is important in pre-K and K, but also lends itself to the kindergarten 1 and 2 listening and speaking Common Core state standards. So the great thing about the cards is that there's one question in each, but if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, there's a little number. So if by any chance your ring is lost and everything goes on the floor, you know kind of what to put them in order. So everything says 1. We have level 1. A lot of questions for level 1. Level 1s are easy. What did you notice? What did you see? What did the character do? Level 2. Comprehension. Explains comprehension. Gives you the little reminder. Asks the question. And again, level 2 on the bottom right-hand corner. All the way, level 3, application. Level 4, analysis, description, teacher reminder, questions, little number to remind you. Level 5, synthesis, description. Level 5 questions, and then we get to my favorite, which is level 6, evaluation, description, teacher reminder, and all the questions. This is really great. Now that I have it laminated and on a ring, I have it in my morning circle kind of big carpet area because that's where we read the story, but also a lot of these conversations that kids have, they just kind of have. They're going to have it with you. They're going to ask you these questions. It's really easy to just pick this up and say, okay, I know you know basic information. I know you could, evaluate, but can you synthesize? Can you create? And so let's just say you're reading The Little Red Hen. A level 1 question would be, can you describe what is happening? So open up the page. Oh, on this page, I noticed that the little red hen is working and the cat, the dog, and the cow are just hanging out. Great. Level 2 question. What do you think will happen next? Oh, I think the little red hen is going to take the wheat to the mill and have the miller create some flour. Great. Level 3 question. Why do you think a character did blank to another character? What do you think both characters were thinking? Okay, what do you think the little red hen was thinking when she was working really hard and the cat, the dog, and the mouse were just hanging out, not doing much? Then you go to level 4. Using your own words, how would you describe the characters from the book? Well, I think the little red hen was very hardworking. She was dedicated. She wanted a clean home. I think the cat, the dog, and the mouse were super lazy. They didn't care. I think that they didn't really care about helping her. And then how do you know? Well, I see the little red hen was working super hard the entire day to clean the house and to make the bread. The other characters were just sleeping or meowing, etc. Level 5. Knowing what you know, knowing how the story ended, make a plan for the characters to help them avoid all of the problems they had. Great. So we all know that in some versions of the Little Red Hen shares her bread or her pizza or whatever she made, and in other versions she doesn't share it. So really knowing how your specific version ended. Let's talk about the pizza, where she did share her pizza with her friends. Make a plan for the characters to help them avoid all of the problems. Well, let's just pretend she hadn't shared her pizza. What can the characters do next time? It really lends itself to these really rich dialogues, and also a really great part of this is that you could include a CL learning. So you make that plan, etc. Then you go to level 6, evaluation. Could you tell me why it's important that ... Okay, so can you tell me why it's important that we all work together in a community? Why was it important that all the characters in Little Red Hen work together, etc.? So really, I just kind of went through, but once you know what story you're reading, you choose your levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and really add pertinent information about the story to make your questions that much better and make the conversations that much more engaging. So this is the first part. This is for literacy. I also created a higher order thinking questions for small groups and centers. I kind of just carry this around. There's super easy questions that you ask in every center. Why do you think this is the best way to fix that problem, right? Or tell about how you sorted, how you patterned, how you glued. Why did you, sort that way? Why did you use the glue like that? Why did you use those scissors, etc.? How else could you do that, right? So these are not necessarily pertinent to a specific center. They're just really more about engaging students in conversations that lend themselves to justifying their answers, justifying their actions, and it's really about letting them synthesize and create and evaluate and judge their actions as well as the actions of others, which is really higher order thinking. So this is these are the questions for centered play. And then now I have 3 rings of center-specific higher order thinking questions or scenarios. So we will start with the dramatic play scenarios and questions. I have separated this into housekeeping scenarios with a scenario at the bottom and questions, as well as community helper question and scenarios. So this is really something that you are going to want to be using when you go to your dramatic play or kitchen area. For example, housekeeping scenarios. You have to go grocery shopping for food, but what type of food do you buy? How do you know what to buy at the grocery store? How do you get it home? This is something that you kind of want to engage students in while you're at the kitchen area. Another sample question for a community helper scenario. When your school has a fire drill, who comes to keep you safe? What do firemen or firewomen do? So it's really, again, engaging students in, yes, this might be skills-based questioning, right? Like, who comes during a fire? What do they do? But really, it's asking students to think deeply and justify their answer. So you're not just going to take a yes or no or one-word answers. You're making students justify their responses. The next part is the table toys, science and sensory table HOT question prompts. Again, it tells you right at the top what manipulative or toy you should be using while asking the question. So we have links, we have dominoes, unit shapes, teddy bears, science items, water table, sensory table. So it's really a great way of, hey, my kids are here. I know I could ask this question. You look to the top. What are they using, or what can you use with that? And then you ask them those questions. I just flipped it open to this page. Using science items. When painting or when planting our plants, and we have been planting plants and been watering them since then. What do you think would happen if we watered the plants with a lot of water? Water the plants with a little bit of water, put the plant outside, put the plant in the closet, water the plant with juice, etc. So it's really giving your students the ability to use that rote memorization and the skills-based learning that they already have, but asking them specific questions, again, where they have to be creative, they have to justify their answers. So this is, again, for table, toy, sensory area, and science. And we have a Lego challenge. This is one of my favorites because we always talk about higher order thinking is about conversations and answering questions and writing papers. And surely that is what higher grades do. But in pre-K, that's not exactly what we do. Our kids could barely write their name, but our kids are very creative. So the Lego challenge is a really fun way to have them create, synthesize, analyze, and justify what they're doing. We start with super easy questions, right? You take Legos out, blocks, whatever building material, and you say, build a bridge, any bridge. You don't even have to show them the picture because some kids do get swayed. Oh, that's a bridge, I'll draw it like that. You could just say, build a bridge, right? And it starts with really simple, build a bridge, use all the Legos, build something you play with, you know, build a maze, build an animal, etc. Build a letter. Then we get into some problems-based building, right? Build something you could push. Build something that could take a children to school. They could build legs, they could build a bus, they could build a bike, they could build a scooter, etc. So it really, again, starts with skills-based learning. Do you know what a bridge is? Can you build me one? What does it look like in your mind? To really problem solving. Build something that keeps animals in. Where do they need to get in? Be kept in? What kind of animal? So they really have to synthesize this information, think of a solution, and then create it, and then justify again why they created that thing. The next part is our writing-centered daily writing prompts or questions of the day. We have over 60 questions. Once you print them, you take them out. We use this as a Mighty Minute. We use it as a writing prompt. In the higher grades, you could definitely have it in your writing center. Take one out. Here's the question. What is the smallest thing you have ever seen? Why do you think it was so small? What would happen if it was enormous instead of small, right? So it's making them go back to something that they know, something that they have used, and then really asking specific questions that are going to get them thinking, and not just in a one-word answer, but really justifying their decision or their response. And the last thing that we have is our Would You Rather game. This game is really great because it works on the levels 4, 5, and 6, which are the highest levels. It makes students evaluate, create, justify, rethink their thinking. Do they need to change what they're thinking, etc.? So we have over 200, I think, questions. Would you rather questions. Some are super silly, some are ridiculous, some will never happen, some are very real world. But really the point is that the students create, justify, synthesize, evaluate, critique their own response as well as others. So would you rather sit in the front or the back of the roller coaster? Yes, some of this is skills-based. Do they know what a roller coaster is? Is it high? Is it low? Are they scared? Why are they scared? And once you have established if they would sit on the roller coaster, would they sit in the front or the back? Why the front? Why the back? What would happen if all of a sudden you were in the back, but it turned around and that was the front? It really lends itself for a lot of one-on-one conversations or small group conversations that start with the prompt from any of these of our packet questions, but really, you know your students, you could ask them something that you think would get them to answer more in a like really thought-provoking way. So there you have it. This is our packet, our higher order thinking packet. If you would love to see some more, we do have some more previews up on the Teachers Pay Teachers page. Leave us a comment. What do you think?